My path in the music was kind of an improbable one. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, the biggest black ghetto in America during the Great Depression of America in the 30s. That's the biggest black ghetto in America. 5 million black people in those days. Chicago was also the #1 spawning ground for the most notorious white and black gangsters in the country, including Al Capone and John Dillinger, Giacomo, and it's continuing the policy with our brother Governor Rod there, Blago. Blago's keeping the history going there. Till about the age of 10, all my brother and I ever saw in Chicago were Tommy guns, stogies, two-way mirrors, and back rooms with piles of money because my father worked for the Jones boys. On tables, dead bodies all over the place, and you all know that with what you see when you're young, you get used to it real quick. Dudes hanging on telephone poles with ice picks in their neck and everything. Chicago's a rough place. That's why I called Jennifer Hudson, when she had that tragedy in her family, because I could really feel it very much emotionally. But the truth is, my brothers and I, we wanted to be gangsters. We were influenced by what you see every day, and the gangsters had it going on. My biggest role models were the Jones boys. We know no relationship. My father was a master carpenter. He worked for them. They were the most notorious triple OG black gangsters in the history of America, I promise you. Good-looking guys and smart. They started a policy racket, and they own all of the 5 and dime stores in Chicago. I am talking about black businesses now. They started all that. And when Capone really found out about how much money these brothers were making, they ran the whole gang, the Jones boys, out of town and sent them to Mexico quick. One dude in that gang named Ted Rowe, who's from St. Louis, I mean, I was around him a lot. And I'm 8 years old, he was my hero. Capone, to get him out, he had 5 guys with sawed-off shotguns take him out. I'm serious. Chicago is no joke. I've got my medals to prove it. I had a switchblade go through my hand, stabbed to a fence when I was 7 years old, and an ice pick in the head. They don't play. They really don't. They had a gang on every street. So the Jones boys now, they ran out of town by Capone, and they go down to Mexico. The next day, my daddy picks my brother and I up at the barber shop, throws us on a trailway bus, and we're on our way to the Pacific Northwest, getting out of town. So we ended up settling in Bremerton, Washington. You guys ever heard of that town? It's a wonderful place, especially that far away from Chicago. And naturally, we were an exclusive black community on the extreme outskirts of Seattle, of Bremerton. My daddy worked as a master carpenter in the Bremerton Navy shipyard. But I and my brother, we still wanted to be gangsters because that's what we saw, and we thought we were going to be good at it. Then my stepbrother, Wayman, and my brother Lloyd and I, we were the first black kids in town and had a postgraduate degree from Chicago for us baby gangsters to know how to get over here and take over this new turf. 10 years old, you know. I was also a paper boy in the army camp right across the pond from my house. And we had a little Camp Victory. We used to play war with the slingshots and all that stuff. I said, no, man, let's get real. So every morning I went in there selling papers, and I'd sneak out little pieces, and eventually I stole 4 .30 caliber air-cooled machine guns and 30 caliber water-cooled machine guns, and enough ammunition to last the entire war. We got caught with a 2-inch shell in our coal bin one time and almost got put in jail for a year. But we got used to it, you know, piece by piece, we had to play war, because that was a very, very popular gung-ho war back in World War II. I know it's hard to look at something like that now, but it's true. The fact was, we had enough ammunition to start a real war. So one night, when I was about 11, and this was the big changing point in my life, we had all the grocery stores covered, You know, we were working in and we'd steal big cases of honey and drink them all out in the woods and everything. Anything, burn down dance halls. And one night when I was about 11, we broke into an armory, which was also a recreation center, to steal some. We heard on the grapevine that there was some lemon meringue pie coming in, you know, and 2 or 3 good, nice ice cream, lemon meringue, and some good ice cream. And then after we got full, we had a food fight. And afterwards, we all split up and went around and broke into the rooms like we were used to doing individually. And I broke into this administration room that a real sweet lady named Miss Harris used to run, but she wasn't there. So I looked around in the dark, and I saw over in the corner a little spinning piano, and I almost closed the door, and thank God, God's whisper spoke to me and says, "Idiot, go back in that room." And thank God I didn't leave. I slowly walked over and I stared at that piano. I didn't have the concept that human beings played instruments. I didn't know what that was about. I heard music all the time. And I let my fingers slowly slide down to touch the keys. And this was the moment of truth for me, because every bone in my body knew that in a heartbeat that my life would be music forever. Food and water would feed my body, but music would nourish my mind and my soul. And I thank God, because it saved my life at 11 years old. It did. I don't even want to think about running around South Compton with Suge Knight. You know, that's what I would have been doing, you know, at 76. That's a joke.